Okay, how's everybody doing today? In this video, I want to show you the pedals I picked up. The old pedals, I'm over 200 pounds, 206 right now. And these nylon pedals that come with bikes all the time, right? Two problems with this. They flex quite a bit. You know, there's not much material there, and they flex, and I'm losing power, to the ground. I feel like eventually they're going to break. But the other problem, if you spin this bearing, it is just grungy. It's not. It doesn't have a ton of miles on it, but it's kind of gritty. Like it's not from dirt either. It's just kind of cheap balls and races, I think, in the bearings in these. I doubt they're fully sealed either. So I wanted to get rid of that situation. So I knew I wanted a pair of alloy pedals. So I found these ones from Alston. And you spin this bearing. These have 3 sealed bearings in them. And it's just like butter. It's like, oh my gosh, that is so much different. Less friction, but also smoother. That's going to be worth like a horsepower right there by itself. Anyway, just kidding. But it'll be worth something. Some kind of friction. So what you need here is to get the old ones off, you need a pedal wrench with a 15 millimeter end on it. Well, usually 15 millimeter. Yeah, both ends are 15. But they're flat, and it's, if a good pedal wrench usually has an angled head so you can get the other end of the wrench away from the bike while you're trying to wrench it off there. Also note that the left-hand side is going to be the reverse thread. They do that because as you're pedaling, they don't want one pedal to work itself loose, right? So you're always pedaling in one direction. If one pedal goes in this way, one pedal goes in that way, they have to reverse the thread of the left side. Just keep that in mind. So it's not righty-tighty, lefty-loosey on a bicycle. Really, if you get new pedals, just look at the thread on the replacement pedal for that side. They'll be marked. Here's left, here's right. They'll be marked, and look at the thread, and then you'll know which way you have to turn to get the old one off. Otherwise, you're just going to try to tighten them like crazy, and it's not going to work. You need some grease for this. Some people use Loctite, and then that just ruins the whole situation. You'll never get your pedal off from that. You don't want Loctite, you actually want grease. They're not, like I said, they're not going to work themselves loose. People think they're going to fall off. They only work themselves tighter. But, yeah, so Loctite will just ruin that situation. You want grease so you can get the pedals off. Now, what kind of grease should you use for your pedals? Well, I'm glad you asked. You can use any kind of grease you want. It does not matter. It doesn't matter at all. You just want a little bit of grease in there to break the friction so the parts don't corrode together. So here's what I'm using. I bought a house 4 years ago, and this I found in the garage. This is probably 50 years old, but that's what I'm going to use to grease my pedal threads because it does not matter, just as long as you have some grease in there. And then, of course, a rag so I can get the grease off my hands and stay clean. So anyway, we're going to put these on and see how they go. Oh, for the Alston pedals, you need an 8 millimeter hex key because they actually don't have the 15 millimeter wrench, flats on there. So they just have the 8 millimeter from the reverse side. And on this crank, the race face crank, it comes with a little washer that fell off when I took the pedal off, but it's on a little inset, so I'm going to reuse the washer for the new pedals. Okay, one note about breaking loose the threads on the left side. If you have the crank over here and you try to wrench on it, all it wants to do is backpedal and freewheel because you don't have any resistance on the chain. It's going to freewheel backwards. It wants to rotate it this way. So put your left pedal forward and then kind of use leverage. You're going to push down on the pedal and you're going to push down on the wrench at the same time. And then you can break it loose without a problem. Well, I don't have both hands here, but you push down on the pedal and you push down on the wrench, and then it is not a problem. Okay, the pedals are on. They are buttery. Those things spin real easy. gonna go take them for a spin and see how the traction feels. One thing I didn't want is a pedal that was wider than my stock one, so I looked up the dimension of the width to make sure there weren't any wider, at least, because I was going to a smaller tire. This is a mountain bike. I went to a significantly smaller diameter tire, which means the bottom bracket is closer to the ground, which means the side of the pedal while pedaling through a corner is going to drag the ground sooner. And I've already ridden with these pedals with probably about as far as I'm ever going to lean, and I know they cleared the ground, so I knew I could go this size or maybe a little bit smaller, and these are perfect for that. Okay, just put about 10 miles on the bike here, and it's hot. It is muggy, but I want to tell you what I think. These pedals are so much smoother than the factory ones. They also grip. You put your foot down. While they're not sharp like a bear trap pedal, which I've been damaged by a few times in my life, they are grippy. These little nubs dig into the bottom of the shoe really good. I'm just wearing skate shoes, these guys here, and they grip really well. Something with a harder sole would be better because your sole won't flex as much when you're pedaling and you won't lose as much power, but they grip the shoes perfectly well. Nice and smooth. They're also stiff. When I stand up and get out of the saddle, I don't feel the pedals all flexing beneath me. It's like it's just transmitting the power to the ground. So that's really cool. So far they're a winner for me. Obviously 10 miles isn't a good test for longevity, but it's plenty to get an idea of the performance of the pedal, I think. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Have a good one.